everybody, it's Scott, and this is the online players meeting for the 2024 Reno Am Jam, presented by Disc Giant and supported by Innova Champion Discs. Special thanks to assistant TD Francisco Ortega, who will be TDing your round at Mayor's and assistant TDing Sunday's round at Lizard Peak. And extra special thanks to Innova Champion Discs for their support and extra raffle prizes to help make this a B tier and keep your players packs worth more than your entry fee and still have lots left over for payout. And thank you to our whole sponsors: David Sampson, Joshua Mins, Scott Graves, Travis Dory, Dave Chapman, and Michael Wilson, whose whole sponsorship helps add to payout. We're gonna hit stacks of facts so that you're well informed for the upcoming event this weekend. And here's an idea: if you don't have time to watch this whole video, put on the video and play it on the speakers of your car so that you hear everything that's being said and you're in the know and you don't miss any of the deets. If you're not familiar with the places to look for last minute announcements, you're going to want to check the event Facebook page. The link has been included in your email as well as below in the information for this YouTube video. DG Scene is another spot in the comments where people might ask questions, and I will try to reply so that everybody's on the same page. A couple reminders up front here. Sales of outside items is strictly prohibited, like stuff out of the trunk of your car in the parking lot. Infractions of this rule will result in a no warning instant DQ. This is a PDGA event. It's not doubles, it's not tags, it's not a casual round with your buddies. Drug and alcohol policy is strictly in effect. I take the time to clarify this because people that paid to play this tournament don't want to have to deal with it. You don't want to spend all this money and get kicked out. I don't want to have to kick anyone out. The whole thing's a drag. Infractions of this rule will result in a no warning instant DQ. And to clarify, smoking of anything during the round will result in a no warning instant DQ. Now, if you're of the mind to get blazed before the round, in the morning or at lunch, if you come out and play lit and other people in the tournament question your conduct and bring it to my attention, you will be DQ'd. So please, folks, just keep it together. You do want to pay attention to this video. I take a lot of time and effort to post everything possible online by the time we get to the event. And then I put the same information out on a video. And then I follow it up and send out the same information on an email. So if you can't read or it's too much work for you to read, I make it easy with a video. And if you can't even be bothered to watch the video and you come up and ask me questions that have been covered like 3 times on all this stuff, you go on my naughty list. And you don't want to be on the naughty list. All right? Some of this video is going to cover stuff that you might have questions about. One portion of this video in particular, referring to Sage Relief, is something to check out because it may save you strokes during this event. Make sure you are at the course a minimum of 15 minutes before your tee time. And that's a minimum. You don't know if parking is going to be an issue. You don't know if you're going to hit traffic snags on the way to the event. Just don't cut it close because you've all heard about the new PDGA rule that everyone's talking about, which is if you're not to your hole at least 5 minutes before the start of the round, you might have a 2-stroke penalty coming your way. Don't be involved in any drama like that. Get to the event in time, ahead of time. The new PDGA rule requires that everyone do scoring. There's a separate video that breaks it down nice and easy. And online scoring makes it easy on you, your card mates, and me. If you can't handle it for whatever reason, let me know before we get to the event. I'll have a paper scorecard ready for you in your situation. Remember, once you're done with the round, make sure that everyone in your group has totally completed the verification process after the last scores are entered. Because once you enter the last scores, the job is not over. There's still a couple of steps to complete. Stay there with everyone and make sure you guys have it done. Failure to complete this last step might create a delay starting round 2 for you and possibly others. And it could also cause delays on the final round, giving out payouts and trophies. So get in the habit of making sure you're all wrapped up before your group disperses. Caddy books. Every course in the event has its own digital caddy book. You're going to want to take a look on DG Scene for the links to the caddy books, or on the event Facebook page, or in the email you just received that has a recap of all the deets. It is my recommendation that you designate one person in your group to have that digital caddy book handy and open on their phone, while 2 other members of your group take digital score, because some tee signs at some of these courses are slightly out of date. The information in the caddy book is accurate as to how you will play each hole. Of particular interest is Mayors, because there's some very tricky things happening out there with Mandos and rock lines, and sometimes these baskets play long. Some of the holes are split into half and you're playing them as 2 half holes. You'll really want to pay attention to that stuff, and there's also some points of clarification, not only at the ranch, but for Liz. Keep those caddy books handy. They're there to keep you out of trouble. You might also have this discussion before you start your rounds, that you designate one of your online scoring liaisons to read any note that appears at the bottom of the hole before you start the hole. Your scorecard peeps can see any notes we've added for the holes. This will further clarify any issues of play on the hole and are important for everyone to know. Before you start the hole, you might say, hey, caddy book, does that play as hazard, or does that play as OB, or any notes on this hole that we should know about? That way everyone's on the same page and no one gets bit by a mystery penalty. Hopefully everyone has been getting their videos in. One of them covers online scoring. Make sure you watch this video and have a full understanding, because you may be called on to be one of the online scorers, and everyone should be ready for that eventuality. This virtually eliminates scorecard errors, which used to cost people 2 strokes, myself included. If you are unable to make it into Disc Giant for early check-in this week, your players packs will be available at the event the day of. All right, now while all of you are supposed to already know this, I'm going to clarify, because a lot of you are new to tournaments and the PDGA rules. One friend of ours was in the shop today and said, you know, they were excited because this is their first tournament and they're getting ready to get out there and slay it. And they were lamenting, they're saying, God, I'm looking at all these rules and I thought I knew the rules, and this stuff it's like studying for a DMV test or something, and I hear you. Some of it is very complicated. We're going to try to clarify a few things, and we're going to actually simplify one of those rules. Hey, guest appearance by Cosmo. Cosmo's here to keep me company and make sure the video comes out right. He's supervising the shots. So we're going to talk about OB really quick. Here's how it works. There's 2 basic types of OB you're going to encounter here. Road and beyond, that's one type of OB. There's a lot of fences like at Mayors. There's some at the ranch too. And there's rock line. What you're going to remember is when there is an OB designated by a line, such as we're going to pretend this is either a fence post or a rock line. Over here, where that Japanese maple is, OB. Over here, where we are, safe. Now, your disc flies. It's on the OB line. Let's say it's the rock line, all right? We'll do it like this. It's on the rock line, okay? Now, the thing you need to remember is that line is out of bounds. You're on the line. Remember, we're inbounds over here, out of bounds over here. Pinky dexterity, look at that. Okay, for you to be considered inbounds, just a fraction of your disc needs to be visibly seen inbounds across the line, okay? See, we're zooming in. Oh man, look at that. Over the line, folks, over the line. Inbounds with us. Now we keep creeping this way until barely, oh, that's still inbounds, 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 out of bounds. OB, okay? Once you can see the OB line, if you were underneath a fence rail, you want to get you and some people from your group directly above that post to see if, right now, there's the fence post, we're looking directly down on the disc, we don't see any part of the disc in bounds, OB. But if you get lucky and we see just that much, a smidge, a sliver, or even more, where the call is easier to make, all you need is that much visible under that fence line on the inbound side for that shot to be considered fair and playable, all right? There we go. So while we've got our handy miniature Am Jam disc, which is a mini marker, handy, let's talk really quick about Mando pulls. If we're playing a hole, we're going to come that way at you, all right? The Mando says that we need to pass the pole on this side. All it's saying is on your way to the basket, you're going to pass the Mando pole to the right and the shot will be considered fair and played inbounds. Cosmo checking out the specifics of the rule. Mando going this way around the pole, fair around the pole. The PDGA this last year changed some rules and added a degree of complexity to the Mando ruling. I'm sure when they discussed this, they were thinking about courses that might have one, maybe two Mandos on them, where things like, we're going to have this special area, like it's the, this is the no-fly zone, and it got really complicated with diagrams and debates and arguments online, and we're going to simplify this for our event here, because this, neither one of the courses day one are courses that have one or two Mandos. There's 3 Mandos minimum at the ranch, and there's a whole bunch at Mayor's that are created by all these giant poles that we installed and gates and all this other stuff. So here's what you need to know. One of the new rules stipulates that, hey man, made the Mando, but then the wind's coming, and in the wind, it blew my disc behind the Mando, and it flew back here, way back here, behind the Mando. Now, technically, they're talking about, well, you have to make the Mando again. What we're going to do for single pole Mandos, when you have to make one pole, or look at some holes have a couple of poles here and then up there or something like that. Look at, if you make the Mando on the right side and somehow the wind takes your disc back around, we're going to say that you've made the Mando. No need to make the Mando a second time, all right? Problem solved. No arguments, no drama. Let's keep this simple. That's a single Mando. This will also work, for example, for hole 8 at Mayor's, where there's 2 poles that you have to shoot directly between, okay? Now, if you shoot between and everyone on your card goes, yes, Mando made, and for some reason, whatever the reason, the wind pulls your disc back behind the Mando, Mando made, move on. You don't have to go inside the Mando a second time to clear it. Just throw straight up to the basket or make your putt. Cool. Sometimes it's not the wind. Sometimes it's the angle of a hole where we're throwing from down here. We're throwing up a hill. And because of the angle and the flight of the disc, it ends up landing behind. Same thing, guys. Keep it simple. If you pass the Mando and it comes back behind the pole after you've passed it, don't worry about it. The only time you're going to have to pass the Mando again is in the instance of a triple Mando. Someone I know, your disc flies through the triple Mando, but the wind catches it and it flies backwards. We're going to say you have to remake the triple Mando, okay? Here's why. Once upon a time, someone you and I know threw this crazy headwind on hole 8 at the ranch, smoked a drive with a super stable disc through the triple Mando, and it was going, and it was fighting the wind, and it was way, way, way up there for the conditions of the wind. I was, person revealed, it was me. I was stoked. It was way up there. It hits the ground, and then the wind still had it, though. It hit the ground, and then it bounced a little bit. The wind tipped it up, and then it tipped it up again, and then it started to walk, and before we knew it, it was walking back towards us, and then it kept walking back towards us, and then it got on its edge, and it rolled on its edge. It rolled on its edge all the way back to us, through the Mando, and 100 feet behind us. Not only did I have to make the Mando again, I had to throw it from like 75 feet behind the tee pad. I want other people to experience this heartbreaking tragedy. When I thought about eliminating all the having to make the Mando a second time stipulations, I said, well, we can't do that because other people won't feel the misery and the humiliation of missing a triple Mando that got blown back in your face after making it. That's not really it. I'm not really that sadistic and jerky. Well, maybe a little bit. But we've given you a break on all the other Mandos. If you make a triple Mando and somehow wind or another factor gets it back behind the triple Mando, you will have to make that Mando again, okay? So keep it in mind and keep it clean. Now we're going to cut in here to an older video because that was expertly crafted to illustrate one unusual rule to Nevada golf. Sage relief. In Nevada, one of the crazy things about Nevada, there are many, but one of them is the state flower of Nevada is a sagebush. Sagebrush? Sagebush? I think both of those are right. Anyway, is sage. It's everywhere. I mean, it is everywhere. As the state flower for Nevada, it is protected. Like in California, when I used to live there, the state flower is a poppy. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a flower. And some sage flowers, sometimes. I don't know. In California, my parents would always tell me, don't step on that because you could get arrested if they find you stomping on poppies. And I was like, oh, wow, that's serious. Okay, in Nevada, look, as a result of the fact that sage is the state flower, there's a rule in Nevada that can be enacted by TDs referred to as sage relief. Now, this doesn't apply in California or any place else. It's in Nevada for this specific reason, so don't get crazy. All right, you guys, some people get carried away with going, there's a rule about this, and they're in Wyoming. Listen, ding dong, the state flower in Wyoming is not sage. All right? Okay, we're going to get to more ding-dong behavior here in a second when I talk about this, but I need to clarify the sage relief rule. Here's what it is. I'm going to use, no, this isn't sage. That's why you had to look it up online so you're familiar. This is random greenage from my garbage can. Look, it's a piece of organic spinach. Let's say player A. Man, look at that. Oh, man, that's bad. Ass. Wings popping out, and he's going... Okay, but that's not who he is right now. He's here to help us illustrate the sage. Guy's disc lands in the sagebrush. If Guy's going to come over here and actually stand at his regular lie, he'd be smashing down the plant to get in there, right? But this is a state-protected flower, this sage bush. All right, brush, whatever. If his disc is up here in the front of the bush and he's back here, the basket's over here, his lie, instead of stepping on the sagebrush and damaging it, what he's going to do is get up here and he's going to put his foot as close as possible to his lie without damaging the bush. That means his shin is probably touching the bush and everything, right? His foot is underneath the bush, though, not smashing the branches or the foliage. That is sage relief. So instead of having to stand in the bush, you actually get relief and even footing. See what I'm saying? You can throw with your foot flat. Here's another donut hole move. It made me crazy. Last year, people were making stuff up. When you don't know what you're talking about, just zip it, okay? We don't need you out there complicating the issue and creating controversy. If your disc is in the bush, that's the relief you get. Someone comes up and says, well, there's another sage back here. So if I'm doing a run-up, that sage is in the way. No one said you were guaranteed a runway for your throw, all right? You get sage relief, even footing, not guaranteed a run-up. Look, it wasn't in the way of you standing behind your lie behind the sagebrush. Who thought of that? I know who brought it to my attention, but he wasn't the guy that made it up. And then some other joker says, well, this stump is sagebrush, and he's trying to give his group to give him relief. The thing was burnt to a crisp. Do I really have to point it out? If the sagebrush is burnt to a crisp, we don't have to worry about protecting it. If it's just a stick or a root and there's no bush attached to it, what are you talking about? Have we talked about the parking at Mayors? No. It's time to talk about the parking at Mayors. At Lizard Peak, with the tee times, we shouldn't see an issue with parking. At the ranch, that parking lot's huge. We shouldn't see an issue with parking there either. But at Mayors, there is a bit of an issue. A bit of an issue if you don't know what you're dealing with. Now, after you get off the freeway, you're cruising down Stead Boulevard, and the park will be on your right. Where the grass and gazebos are is where we're going to check in really quick the day of play, have a quick players meeting to make sure no one is confused. The parking lot right next to this grassy area and gazebo fills up quickly, and it is only near a portion of the course. So, as you're cruising down Stead Boulevard, look for the turn right before the park. It's on your right and it's called Norton Boulevard. If you take a right on Norton, you're going to see you're passing the course on your left. There's a giant parking lot up by the ball fields. This parking lot is actually situated right in the middle of the course. Because it's right in the middle of the course, it is closer to more holes than that grassy gazebo area. Chances are that parking lot is closer to your starting hole. Now, after you park, you're going to head down the dirt road to the right of hole 18 and head back towards the gazebo so that you can check in and we can have our quick meeting. The good news is after you get back to your hole, if you're on the other side, your car is going to be way closer when you're done with your round. Now listen, Disc Giant is open Saturday from 11 to 3. You may have enough time if you really need something, like the wind's been making you crazy, and you need some overstable nastiness to help combat it, or you need something understable, or whatever. You might have enough time between the rounds, because these courses are not that far away, depending on where you start and finish, and how soon you finish, and what the schedule says for the start time of round 2, to get over there and get any goodies. On site at the actual event, at the ranch, we will have a selection of discs there available, but it might not cover all contingencies and every need. The shop has just about everything you could imagine. Just about. The reason I point this out, if you're coming into town and you know that you don't have time to do early check-in, but there's some things that you want, or you're a fan of my art, or you've seen my stuff posted online at auctions and you have an idea of what it's all about, or if you have some clothes that you saw on discgiant.com where the clothing brand is listed and you want to have that stuff for you available at the tournament, all you got to do is, well, if it's Disc Giant, the clothes, check it out and message me. If there's discs you're looking for, try to message us Friday as early as possible. What I'll attempt to do is, and if you can tell me the weight, the plastic type of what you're looking for, we'll try to go, okay, here's 3 different colors in that weight, in that plastic. Do you want us to bring any of these to the tournament for you? And then we'll square up at the tournament, and then you'll have whatever you need for the event, or maybe it's a stool, or maybe it's whatever. I don't know. I don't know what you're after. Maybe it's a dry bag for keep your sweaty hands dry, or maybe it's a hat. Whatever. Okay, look, we're here to help. So if you think about it before you get here, you need it, we'll try to help you out. If you think about it during your round, but you can't get to Disc Giant at lunch, then see me or message me as early as possible Saturday, because what I will do after the raffle, I still have to swing by Disc Giant and drop some stuff off. Saturday, I will swing by Disc Giant, or one of us will swing over there, and we'll grab for you what you need that you might not have seen at Tournament Central on Saturday, okay? If you win some script and you already know, man, I got plenty of discs, and you see stuff you like on discgiant.com, if you message me, we can also work out redemption of your script for out-of-towners on the discgiant.com website. But I'm telling you, that is strictly towels and clothing and socks. And it's all Disc Giant brand stuff, that it's not discs and other stuff, okay? And if you're having any of that stuff shipped, of course, part of your script will need to cover the shipping, or you might have to chip in a couple of bucks to cover the rest of the shipping. Whatever. That's another option. One thing I do want to point out is that all script has a very specific expiration date. You want to pay close attention to that. If you're worried that you might forget about it, cash in your script at Tournament Central as you receive it that Sunday for something that is there and that you can take with you then. We cannot honor script past the expiration date. There's a number of reasons for this, but that date is there for a reason, and there's no, bro, can you help me out at all. There's an expiration date for a reason. I'm trying to give you a heads up so it does not become an issue. We want you to get your prizes. But you gotta be in it to win it, folks. You don't have to be present to win at the Big Bad Raffle. The raffle will be held live at the ranch about 5:15, 5:30, depending on when groups finish. If you're not present to claim your prizes, will be live telecast on the Reno Disc Golfers Facebook page. There, after it is completed, it will stay up there to watch at your leisure, feel like you're part of the action, and see whether you've won or not. Now, if you're not present to claim your prizes at the raffle, your prizes will be held for pickup the next day at Lizard Peak, where your winning ticket will be taped to the prize. Below the posting of the Big Bad Raffle, we will also post pictures of winning tickets if you don't have the time or patience to listen to my nonsense, to cut right to the chase. See where the video is posted, look underneath, pictures of winning tickets, bang, bang, bang. And then you take a look and you go, hey, that's, oh, maybe it's me. You see your ticket taped to a prize. So there you have it, folks. We're set up for a great event this weekend. If I don't see you at pre-check-in before then, I'll see you Saturday. It's going to be a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you. Scott, out.